Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Every Damn Week podcast. This week is part 3. If you recall, a couple weeks ago we did part 1, which was a focus on building unshakable discipline. The second part, last week, we talked about achieving true balance. This week, for the final part of our 3-part series, we're talking about developing steadfast integrity. One of the things about the world today that I've noticed in my 52 years of being on this planet is we have a lack of leaders who truly exemplify steadfast integrity. Many in positions of power nowadays, they fall short, and especially for moral and ethical standards. They don't provide us or our youth with good, strong, positive examples of integrity. Their lack of leadership creates trust issues and respect issues. I mean, take a look at our presidential election, for example. The candidates, neither one are the best, and both present ethical and moral issues. It's a leadership issue. There are some people who do exemplify good integrity, steadfast integrity. I'll share a few of those examples with you here at a certain point. But what I want to do now is I want to talk about the definition of integrity. Let's dive in and let's see what the real definition of integrity is. So I'm going to read this for you. Integrity is the adherence to moral and ethical principles, ensuring that one's actions are consistent with one's values. It involves doing the right thing, even when no one is watching, and being honest, reliable, and trustworthy in all aspects of life. Personal integrity is so important. As a dad, these are principles that we teach our children. We want to be examples of integrity to them such that they'll be able to see what it's really like, what good, strong leaders are. And as dads, we're the first leader in their lives, first real male leader in their lives. We need to have steadfast integrity. I'm going to share a quote from Jordan Peterson. To tell the truth is to bring the most habitable reality into being. Truth builds edifices that can stand 1,000 years. Truth feeds and clothes the poor and makes nations wealthy and safe. Truth reduces the terrible complexity of a man to the simplicity of his word. I love Jordan Peterson. It's hard to quote him because he's so intelligent and his words are so complex but yet powerful, and they drive home the point. It does come down for a man to the simplicity of his word. And this is something my dad taught me. Be a man of your word. When you promise or commit to do something for somebody, do it. Don't let them down. And I live by that, and I teach that to my children to this day. What I want to dive into is I want to share the benefits, 5 benefits that you get when you have steadfast integrity. So let's get into the very first one. The first one, you're going to have goal achievement. And again, in the previous 2, we've talked about goals and such, but let's get into this. So goal achievement means the successful completion or attainment of set objectives, whether they are personal or professional. It's important because it boosts your confidence. It paves the way for setting and achieving future goals. If you accomplish your goals, you want to set new ones. Okay, so example. Yesterday, I achieved 366 days of fitness. 7 days a week, I did something fitness related. I achieved my goal. Well, feels pretty good to achieve it, but what now? I mean, the one thing about, being a steadfast integrity man is you don't just stop. You look for ways to continue to improve. And so I extended the goal. I said, okay, I made 366. Let's go to 1,000. I want to go 1,000 days. So by doing that, I have now set a goal for being the best fit person I've ever been in my life. And some strategies that go along with this to have consistent goal achievement: setting SMART goals. That's what I did. I announced that in my video yesterday, or last week, excuse me. I filmed it yesterday. I'm filming this week. So my SMART goals: I want to be between 180 and 185 pounds. I want my body fat to be somewhere between 16 and 18%. I want my lean mass to be around 150 pounds. I want my visceral fat to be between 2 and 2.5 pounds at most. So I've set some SMART goals, and to do SMART, you have to have them achievable in a time frame. And my time frame is 18 more months. I want to achieve all of those within 18 more months. You have to create a daily routine to accomplish these goals. You can't just say, here's my goal, and then, all right, we'll see if I get there. You got to have a plan. You set your goals, and then you have routines, and then the habits build the routines, and they all build together, and that's how you get to your goals. And then you need to track it. That's part of the SMART goal process. It needs to be trackable. So for me, I'm tracking my progress by monitoring my weight. I'm taking regular DEXA scans now. I'll do one probably every 6 months, and I'm tracking my calorie intake now. I already track my calories. I do that with my watch on a regular basis. So I'm tracking. I'm doing that. Here's a statistic for you. People who write down their goals, write them down, are 42% more likely to achieve them. This is from Dr. Gail Matthews at Dominican University. I want to share a quote. The great Tony Robbins. Who else for goal achievement? Setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. And he's absolutely right. The second benefit you get is your personal integrity. You're going to have strong and personal integrity when you have steadfast integrity. People are going to look at you and they're going to go, I know what he stands for. I know what he believes. And personal integrity involves being true to one's values and commitments, ensuring that one's actions align with their principles. This builds self-trust and respect. You got to trust yourself. If you have integrity, you believe in yourself. You trust yourself. To build personal integrity, this is what we all want to do as dads. Keep promises to yourself. If you commit to a goal, you commit to something, don't let yourself down. You're a person and you have a relationship with yourself. And while you don't want to let the people down around you, like your kids or your wife or your friends or your coworkers, the worst person you could let down is yourself. And think about it. Go back to when you made a commitment to yourself and you failed to keep that commitment. How did you feel? Were you disappointed in yourself? You probably were. You don't want to let yourself down. Practice honesty and transparency. This is a big one. And this is something I do with you guys here. I am honest and I am open with everything that I am doing. I'll be honest. In my video where I shared the DEXA scan results, I wasn't thrilled. I was not overly thrilled with them, but I still, and I felt like initially my initial thoughts were that I didn't do a good enough job, and maybe I could have done better. But in the reality, I didn't want to share it with you. I didn't want to share those numbers because I just felt like I had failed. I didn't fail. I did make progress, and I had to remind myself of that. And at the same time, I had to be honest with you because I committed to share what I'm doing with you. So you have to be transparent. You have to be honest and admit the mistakes that you make when you screw something up. I mean, I make mistakes all the time. You learn from your mistakes. You grow from them. So be transparent and admit it. When you screw up, you screw up. Reflect on values and aligning actions. So always go back and assess whether your actions that you're taking align with your core values. So for example, if you value health, make choices that support a healthy lifestyle. I'm telling you right now that I want to meet my goals of being 100 to 185 pounds. So in order to do that, I have to assess, okay, am I really doing what I need to do to make that happen? And I look at my eating habits, and I wasn't fully doing that. I have made changes. I'm doing better. I'm eating more whole foods than I used to, but I needed to shift even further. I needed to pay more attention to how often I'm eating, how much I'm eating, and get the timing right, and be more hungry more often. So I needed to make adjustments, and that's what I'm starting to do now. Here's a stat. 91% of people believe that individuals with high integrity are more trustworthy and reliable. Yeah, that's very true. Here's a quote for you that I think is perfectly appropriate. Integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. And that's C.S. Lewis, one of my favorite authors. The other benefit you get is you get a supportive community. When you have good, strong integrity, you're going to attract people around you who are going to want to support you and cheer you on in the good times and the bad. We all go through struggles, and you want that support when things get tough. If people know the kind of man that you are a man of your word, that you have integrity, that you're honest and transparent, people admire that, and they want to connect with people like that. And therefore, they're going to be in your group and they're going to support you. So, join groups that are going to allow you to do this. Have a supportive community. For myself, I have a couple of groups. I have a couple of accountability groups that I'm a part of. I have one group that I was a part of through Ben Hardy's program, and I'm still connected with them to this day, and they are hugely supportive, and I love them very much, and they have been great for me in my life. And then I also have what we call a man group. There's just men. We're just a group of men that support each other as fathers, as husbands, and we're all friends, and we're all very close friends. And I admire and love each and every single man in that group, and they have all taught me something that I take away every time I talk to them, and then I'm able to, and they support me. They have supported me in my journey for 366 days. They have absolutely been a huge rock for me to know that they're there, and they are cheering me on every step of the way. So to build and maintain a supportive community, you want to find like-minded individuals. So you want to share your goals, similar goals, with other people, your values and your goals. So join local clubs or professional networks, or if you've got a group of friends, build an accountability group. Like my friend put this together and invited me to be a part of it. And I am so grateful for that to this day, because it meant a lot. It showed that he valued me. He showed me that I was an important person in his life and in the lives of those men in the group, and that I had something to contribute. And I feel that they have something to contribute to me. You want that in these groups that you're going to participate in. Participate in community activities. You want to find events and group activities where you can connect with people as well. And again, connections are important because they help you with establishing relationships. And I've shared that in the previous examples as well, previous podcasts, where you want good, solid relationships with people that will help benefit you and you benefit them. It's so important. Offering and seeking support regularly. I always support my friends. I give them, I love them. I love them very much. And I'm always giving them support, cheering them on. My best friend, I do this with all the time. I cheer him on because he is my best friend, and he's been there for me, and he's earned my loyalty, and he's earned the privilege to be called my best friend because I trust him. He's a man of integrity, and we both find that we feed off of each other's integrity, and we become better men. In fact, you get to meet him next week in next week's podcast. Here's a statistic for you. 70% of individuals say that having a strong support system significantly contributes to their personal success. And I'll share a quote with you as well here from Dwayne Wade. Surround yourself with people who make you better. Remember, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend your time with. You want to be surrounded by people who bring that number up, who bring you up and make you a better man. That's what you're looking for. So one of the other benefits, you get responsibility and ownership. Is this really a benefit? Yes, it is. It is. Taking responsibility means acknowledging and accepting the consequences of one's actions. Ownership involves proactive engagement in tasks and decisions. Responsibility and ownership is what we want, because when we have responsibility, it means we're trusted, and opportunities come about through responsibility and ownership. We want to be able to have more opportunities put before us if we can show that we have more responsibility. As dads, we have a duty to be responsible for our children. And, that's not necessarily, I want to say it's not something we earn, but you do with your children. If you have integrity, you're earning it. If you don't have integrity, you are not earning it with your children. But while your children are your children regardless, they became a part of your lives. You don't earn your children, but you earn their respect and you earn their love. Yes, you do earn their love, because you have to be a man of your word. You have to be a man who takes care of them. You need to be responsible. You need to take ownership for everything that you do for them. What are some strategies to cultivate responsibility and ownership? Well, again, we talked about this earlier, reflecting on actions and consequences. You want to go back and review all your actions, especially as a dad. I know there are times when I've come down on my children for things, and I've had to go back and I've reevaluated. Did I do the right thing? Was that the right course of action? And sometimes I'll go, you know what? Yeah, that was right. Or sometimes I'll go, you know what? I need to make some changes. And sometimes I need to go apologize for what I may have done. That, understand what your actions are, those consequences. And sometimes the consequences are you could damage relationships. So your decisions could impact your family. It also could impact your work, your coworkers. You pay attention to that. Set a good example. Duh. If you're being a dad, you want to do that. You want to lead by example. You want your children to see you as a strong, responsible man who takes ownership of his life. They don't want to see a dad who's weak. Vulnerability is fine. Remember, we talked about that previously in my podcast about vulnerability. Vulnerability is fine. Being a whiny boy is not. Nobody wants to see a whiny boy. So don't be a whiny boy. Set a good example. Being proactive in addressing your mistakes. I was just saying, if you screw up, own it. That's ownership. Say, I screwed up. I'm sorry. Do that with your kids. Do that with your wife, especially with your wife. You've probably heard this before. Most of us have. The most important 2 words in a marriage are I'm sorry. Period. That's it. Those are very important words that a husband needs to say to his wife. We're not perfect. We screw up. And we will always screw up, because it's just the nature of our being. We will make mistakes. We're human. Own up to it. Address your mistake, own it, and clear it up and move on. Here's a statistic. Employees who feel a sense of ownership at work are 50% more likely to overachieve their goals. I think that's awesome. And then a great quote from a great man, Winston Churchill. The price of greatness is responsibility. This is very true. And the 5th and final benefit, continuous improvement. Yeah, how is this a benefit? It is a benefit, because when you are continually improving yourself and refining all aspects of your life, you're becoming a better man. Your integrity not only grows, become steadfast, but you are a better man because you're constantly looking for ways to improve yourself. That's why we're here. We're here to learn. We're not here to just sit on a couch, eat potato chips, watch football. Yeah, that may sound fun on a Sunday afternoon, but that's not our life. That's not our entire life. It needs to be more than that. We need to take and seize the opportunities to be more and to grow. And it helps us maintain momentum towards our goals that we set for ourselves, adapting to the new challenges that may come before us. I remember all the things that I always was afraid of doing before every damn day. And then I remember last year when I did the Savage race that I did and the obstacles that I went over. And I remember that really tall mesh net obstacle that I went up. It went up at least 25 feet into the air. I never would have done that before every damn day. I would have said, oh, I can't do that. That is not me. But I had grown enough as an individual. I had made enough continuous, consistent improvement in my life that when I walked up to, and it was that final obstacle, and I was tired, and I was like, I could walk away from this and say, you know what? I don't have to do it. I overcame my fears I have a fear of heights, like you wouldn't believe. When I was 2 years old and I'd come up on a step like this, I'd sit my butt down on the step and I would pick my legs up and put them on the step and then go to the next one and do. I hate heights. I walked up to that net and I didn't pause. I didn't hesitate. I got on it and I got all the way to the top and I didn't slow down and I got down the other side. Because I made continual improvement, I became a better person. I was stronger. I was able to face that new challenge and conquer it. We want to be able to have sustainable personal growth in our lives all the time. That's why this is every damn day. Every single day, you're making progress. So what are strategies for this? Daily self-assessment every damn day. Self-assess. Take a look at what you're doing. See what's going on. Reflect on decisions that you make, the progress that you've made. End your day with a brief journal entry into the journal. Do a night entry. Just take 10 minutes, even 5 minutes, and just write down what you did and how you felt. Reflect on it. Seek feedback. That's so important. And there's nothing wrong with asking family, friends, coworkers for feedback. You want your family, your friends, and your colleagues to tell you how you're doing in key areas of your life, because how do you grow? If you're stuck in your head all the time, how do you know if you've got to make improvements? You need that reflective back from your outside world, outside your head. I'm always asking for feedback from my closest people because I want to be better. I always have wanted to be better. And if, it's not about people pleasing. Don't fall into the trap of people pleasing. You're simply wanting to find ways to connect with these people and be better and have them give you the feedback on how to be better. I've done that with my wife. We finally have reached a point in our marriage where we can share things about each other and not fight as much about it. I've reached a point with my friends, my best friend, where we can actually be open and honest about things and critique and not take offense. My children, they're learning, they're growing. I try very hard to give them positive things, positive feedback, but also point out things they can improve on, but do it in love. And not my son. Both my sons are learning how to play football and learning how to throw and catch. I'm never critical of how they drop a ball. I'm never critical about how they throw the ball poorly. I simply say, okay, just pointing out that this is what's happening. We need to make a correction. So I'm providing feedback. So provide feedback and get it back. Seek it. Same thing. Another strategy for continuous improvement is setting incremental goals. This is what I do on a regular basis. I'm setting regular goals. I have a goal now, 1,000 days. I have a goal of reaching 180 to 185 pounds of weight. You want to continue. Again, start small and work your way up to larger goals. But you really want to be consistent. Consistency is undefeated. This is what I keep preaching. Consistency is undefeated. Another stat for you. 92% of people believe that continuous self-improvement leads to greater personal and professional success. This is the Pew Research Center. And then I like this quote from Mark Twain. Continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection. As a dad, I just want to add one more thing here for continuous improvement in your family life. Always reassess how you're spending time with your children. Adjust your approach and ensure that you're meeting their needs. Okay? You have needs that have to be met, but they do too. As a dad, you've got to balance it. This is part of being having true balance. Okay? And having sustainable balance. So for the last part of this, I want to get into some examples of integrity today. I mentioned at the beginning, it's really hard to find leaders who have steadfast integrity. And I'll be honest, I mean, you look at our politicians today, and I can't name a single one. I cannot name a single one in that area. I look at business leaders, and I'm not impressed with many of them. But there are a few people that I think truly embody steadfast integrity that I admire. First one, Mike Rowe. You probably know him for his work on Dirty Jobs, and he's mostly recently been a very big advocate for skilled labor. What I appreciate about him is he's helping to teach people about college isn't always the answer. There's a need for skilled labor, and some people, that's all they want to do is they just want to go the skilled labor route. You don't need college for that. Go to a trade school, learn a trade. He emphasizes, this is what the example of integrity for him is. He emphasizes hard work, and he epitomizes that, as well as personal responsibility. He has a dedication to showcasing the importance of all types of work, and he these are all overlooked by society, and so he points these out so that we understand. Hey, being a plumber is okay. There's nothing wrong with being a plumber. Jobs like that, those are needed. We need people to do those types of jobs. A quote that Mike Rowe has that I appreciate: happiness comes from knowing what really matters and then living a life that reflects it. Yeah, that's what integrity is, folks. The next one that I want to talk about is Keanu Reeves. And I can't tell you how amazing this man really is. He has a reputation of kindness, humility, and generosity. If you have never heard of some of the things that he has done, well, let me show you, because he's very low profile. If you don't know much about Keanu Reeves, he does not like the public eye. He does not like to let his actions be seen in the light of day. Not that he's doing bad things. He just doesn't want people to know everything he does. That's true humility and real true steadfast integrity right there, where it doesn't matter if people see it or not. He's going to do the right thing. So I want to share some examples of what he's done. So, for example, on The Matrix, there's two things. On the Matrix series that he did, there's two things that he did. It was reported that he gave up a significant portion of his salary to ensure that the special effects and the costume design teams were properly compensated. And then, after completing The Matrix, one of the things that he did was he gifted to the stuntmen Harley Davidson motorcycles, to each of the 12 stuntmen that worked on the film. And this was just an acknowledgement for their hard work and their contributions to the film. He's been known for his charitable donations. He quietly funded numerous children's hospitals and cancer research. That's a big deal for him, which is inspired by his sister's battle of leukemia. That touched him. And so he wants to help other children. Reeves started a private cancer foundation to battle leukemia. The last thing, this is the thing that I admire most about him. He's known for his random acts of kindness, such as giving up his seat on public transportation. This is widely known, and I've seen pictures of this. He'll buy lunch for homeless people, and he'll engage with conversations with fans and strangers alike. He is not full of himself. He sees him as another person, just another average person living his life. My goodness, that is steadfast integrity. Another man that I want to acknowledge, last one here, Tom Brady. Love him or hate him. I know there's a lot of people who hate him. The man is the greatest quarterback of all time. No doubt about it. When you have the number of Super Bowls that man has, the number of rings that he carries around with him, yeah. He didn't get there without steadfast integrity. He has a commitment to excellence and discipline and for leadership. And quite honestly, he's not public about what he does. It just reflects, it shows in his accomplishments, in everything that he's done. And he does not consider him above anybody else. He knows that he has to put in the hard work and dedication and discipline in order to get things done. And he knows that teamwork matters, and he needs to be there for his team. And he sets an example of integrity in sports. The quote that I have for this 7 Super Bowl title champion that I just admire, and I have this quote on a picture in my office, and it touches me because it is so true. I think sometimes in life, the biggest challenges end up being the best things that happen in your life. So true. So true. Everyone, steadfast integrity is lacking in this world. There are a lot of good men out there, a lot of good people. Don't get me wrong, but we lack leadership. We lack leaders who stand up and show us, our children, steadfast integrity. Steadfast integrity has to start with us, Dad. We as dads need to have steadfast integrity. That means being honest and true to your values, your word, and following through on your word with your actions. Be the example to your children. Show them what a steadfast integrity looks like. Show them what a good, honest, decent man really looks like. Go out there and do it. Your children will benefit from it. I promise you, they will see it and they will know how to act in this world. It is so very important, and we need to teach that more and more. Everyone, thank you so much for watching these 3 episodes that I've done talking about the 3 pillars of Every Damn Day. These are all the foundation for the Every Damn Day program. I use this in my coaching. I use this when I'm speaking. And I'm going to be using a lot of this in my book that I'm working on. All of this is the foundation of being a better father and being a better man, being a better friend, being a better husband, all of the above. This is what it takes to be strong. And there is nothing wrong with being a strong male figure in this world. The world tries to destroy that vision, that idea of good men. And we can no longer stand for that. We must stand up and take ownership of who we are as dads and husbands, and be that shining beacon of example to everyone. Thank you very much. Take care, and we'll see you next week.